So without further ado, today's topic for podcast is my gastric bypass surgery. What happened for me to get a surgery like that? What didn't happen? What did I do in my life? What has been? Because I am on my 10-year anniversary. 10-year anniversary of that surgery. So I decided to make this kind of before pause show and podcast as the last video that I want to do before that pause, because I think it's important for everybody to know that story and to know my story. It's my story. It's what makes me me too. What it's kind of one of the trigger factors, I'm gonna say, that made me also become a coach, that inspired me to become a coach. So let's start. So at 19 years old, I got a gastric bypass surgery. It wasn't too difficult at the beginning, let's say, or maybe it was the most difficult at the beginning. I guess now remembering, it's just it was just one of those things that, you know, in the mindset and in the emotional state that I thought, and I opted for this surgery because I thought it was going to be a revolutionary change in my life that I wanted to see. Right, it was going to help me get to my next level of self, and I knew it, right? So I said yes, and I wanted to. So a few years back, before I even got the surgery, so my whole life, the entirety of my childhood, I'm gonna say from 9 years old to 18 years old, I was the chubby girl, right? The chubby girl who was always overweight. I was obese. I was morbidly obese. My parents had me constantly in and out of nutritionist offices. And, as a kid, I was mad. I was mad because I couldn't understand why I had to constantly go and eat healthier than all the other kids, right? I wanted to eat my candies like everybody else was doing, and it's not necessarily that I was overeating sometimes. It was just about just eating the candy, and the effects that candy can have on your body. And then when I got older, like maybe 12, 13, 10, 13, I was overeating. So it was just so many factors that between those years made me become this morbidly obese Anna. And so, what I went through was bullying in school, being made fun of. I spent a lot of years by myself in schools just because I didn't sometimes have somebody to play with, right? Because they were making fun of me. So it's all these emotional and mental factors as a child that I was encountering. And so when you are not processing your emotions and your feelings, and like they're not in sync, what happens? What happens when we're not there, right? We start going towards either something that makes us feel good, or going to somebody that can make us feel good, right? And I was going towards the thing that made me feel good versus somebody that can make me feel good. So the thing that I was going to was the candy, the eating, the let me be by myself and watch a show while I binge eat cookies or something, right? So I wasn't properly expressing my negative emotions to my parents or to my sister or anything. So it was a lot of emotional blockage and buildup that I kept swallowing and kept swallowing and kept swallowing with the cookies, the candies, the overeating, and all those different things. So that's why it's so important and so vital to constantly give a child and a teenager space to vent, to feel safe, that they can feel safe with their emotions in front of somebody, And I didn't have that constantly. And even though I'm tearing up right now, I noticed that, it was a big part not having that positive outlet. I only had the other negative outlet, which was just me just me overeating and overindulging. So it took me a while to really understand that like I wasn't expressing myself properly, and that's why I kept overeating and I kept overindulging, and I eventually got to a weight where I could barely handle myself, right? I got to a weight of I was almost 600 pounds, guys. Like, and when I get to 600 pounds, right? Like, this was sophomore year, I'm a second year of college, and I'm looking at my friends and I'm looking at myself, and I'm like, I love myself, right? I love my body, I love my life, but I don't want to continue seeing myself like this. So I think that's when that big realization hit. When I decided, I said, I don't think I want this anymore, and I want to change the way I look in a better way, in a healthier way, because guys, 10 plus years of a nutritionist while you're a child is only gonna help you understand later on what you need to be eating and why you needed to eat it. All that experience served me, like, I know I need to eat my salads for sure. But even though I went for the surgery, it wasn't like I didn't love myself, right? I did the surgery because I loved myself, because I said, there's something else I know I can do to get to that level where I want to. So when I was around 16, 17, I knew to myself, like, you know what? I love my personality. I love who I am. My friends love who I am. My family loves who I am. My family is always, was always encouraging me to look better, be healthier, that I was so pretty, that I should lose the weight, that etc., etc. But sometimes it's hard as a child to really get that in your brain, because you're not understanding what's the big deal, right? You're not understanding, like, until you really get right. Sophomore year is when I really realized, okay, if I don't do something about it now, my health is not gonna get better. I'm gonna probably end up more morbidly obese, more overweight, and then the health problems are gonna start to roll in, like the cholesterol, the overweight problems, that I can't do certain exercises, and slowly and surely all the other small things. So at 16, I realized I love myself at the end of the day, right? I love who I am inside. And who I am inside, nobody can really change that or affect that unless I let them. So I realized this, right? And from then on, I started college, and I was very happy. I was content. I was good, but then there's the other society trick, where there's like, the boyfriends, the dating, all of that. I didn't have any of that in high school. I didn't date anybody. I didn't have no boyfriends. Not really until like my last 2 years of college did I actually start dating. And so when I'm talking to myself, like, I love myself, I love my personality, I love who I am and everything, and then I started wondering, but why don't I have a boyfriend? So that also kicked in at that age, right? Because I'm seeing all my friends with boyfriends, I'm seeing their relationships here and there, and I'm like, why do I have a boyfriend, right? And so I also thought that was that me being chubby and obese was also affecting that. So I was like, okay, I think it's time to go for the surgery, but I don't want to do it because because I just wanted a relationship or something. I don't want you guys to think that. I wanted to do it because it started affecting my health and my self-image, of course. Yes, it started because I feel so good inside, right? I felt so good inside, but then I looked at myself in the mirror and I was like, but I don't feel like this is the best I can look, right? This isn't the best I can look. And the clothes I was wearing, I didn't feel fashionable. I didn't feel good in the clothes I was wearing sometimes. And it was hard finding clothes too. Like I had to go always to the extra large, the 20 size, the 21. I almost got to a 22 size. I think I probably was on a 22 size, and it was beyond what I could imagine. So I started getting bored of that too. I was like, but I want to look prettier. I want to buy this dress, or I want to buy this shirt. I want to feel more fashionable with myself. So all these factors contributed to me finally deciding for the surgery, right? The lack of emotional and mental synchronicity was I got under control, right? And then when I got it under control and I started, emotion with thinking and processing my feelings properly and venting and talking it out, boom. So I synchronized, right? I synchronized and I said, okay, I think there's something else better. Other reason was I want to buy fashionable clothes. I want to be able to go into a store and just pick whatever I want to pick, right? Not always have to be limited to a certain size or a certain style, because they don't have that in my size. And you have no idea when I was a child, so my mom would always take me to the stores, and some salespeople will laugh secretly, and I would notice. I would always notice. They would laugh and they would say, "Oh my gosh, that's not gonna fit her." Sometimes they would even say things like that, So even as a child, it was hard to keep that positivity up when you hear people snickering and laughing at you behind your back just because of your size. So that was like another factor, right? Because as I got older, there's not that many sales associates anymore. So it relatively became easier to get clothes, but it wasn't the clothes that I wanted to see myself wearing, And so, yeah, that was another factor. And then when I hit my peak at 18, which was about 600 so pounds, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm asking myself, what else is wrong? Why can't I, feel 100% content with who I am? And so the surgery, it had been already on the table. I think around when I was 15 years old. My parents brought it up to me, and then they told me, like, Anna, maybe we should do the surgery, and then you lose the weight, it'll be better for your health, it'll be faster, etc., etc. So we go in and we do all the errands that we needed to do so we could do the surgery. But actually they said no at that age, because they told me you are still more than capable of losing the weight on your own if you just, the discipline, everything. But what these people didn't know, right, is that I'm coming from 10 years of being made fun of not being able to control the emotions, not being able to control or have the discipline to go exercise, to eat the healthy things, because there was always something that was gonna make me falter, right? So I could be on a diet all day long, but then the minute that somebody made fun of me, boom, where's the candy? Where's the cookies, right? And then, so when I get to being 19, I'm 19, I'm seeing myself, I'm in college, I want to experience more things, I want to look better, I'm telling myself all these things that I want to kind of change my life now. Like, I'm ready for this type of surgery in my life, because I have already tried everything, right? In my head, I'm like, I've tried everything. I've gone to the nutritionist. I've gone to 20 plus nutritionists at 29 years. Come on, guys. So I know, right? I know that I need to be eating better. I know that I need to be going to the gym. I know these things, and I love exercising. But sometimes you have to go through certain things for you to know at the end of the day it hasn't been working, right? You have to realize when certain things have not been working. You can't keep pushing yourself towards something that you do not have the will to do. You understand me? Or something that is costing you so much. You shouldn't force yourself to do that. So at 19, I go and I say, okay, it's enough. We're going to do the surgery. We go do the errands, everything. Surgery is approved. And I'm like, yes. I was very happy when the surgery got approved. And after that, everything moved very quickly. They made me talk to a psychiatrist. They made me talk to a nutritionist again. We did everything, all the errands, right, for surgery. And I think once the surgery happened, I think in my head also something changed, right? I was like, okay, I got this monumental surgery for my life. Now I know, now it's at a level where if I don't take care of myself, the surgery will be for nothing. If I don't take care of myself, this surgery could even affect my health even more. If I don't take care of myself, I'm not gonna be able to be happy, practically to be happy, right? So I wake up day of surgery. I wake up the day of surgery, 5 a.m. They did it like at 8 a.m. I had to be at the hospital like at 5 a.m. So mind you, times whatever. So I wake up. They said I was a little anxious when I woke up, and I'm like, what do you mean? And I wasn't anxious, but you know, nurses, doctors, they know the characteristics of a person who can be anxious when they wake up after surgery, because honestly, they put me to sleep very fast. I didn't even get to say like good morning to like my doctor, who like the actual doctor who did everything, like my favorite doctor my whole life. He was pretty cool. I didn't get even to say good morning to him because the anesthesiologist just came in and said, okay, yeah, we're ready, okay, boom. And then literally less than 3 seconds, guys, I was knocked out. It was hilarious for me. But yeah, so I get out of surgery. I stay at the hospital for about 3 days, recovery, stitches. Let's make sure all bodily functions are are working, everything is good. And then, the first month, I think it was only liquid diet. So I'm on a liquid diet the first month. Then the next 6 months were, it was I think almost a whole year. That first year of after the surgery was so much learning and exploring and knowing what I could eat and knowing what I couldn't eat and knowing when to to stick to an eating routine, actually, because if I didn't eat, let's say, breakfast or something, by midday I will feel completely depleted. I was not feeling my best. I would have a headache. It was not good with that. Oh my gosh. And one of the things they make you take is vitamins, right? Because now your stomach is like this size, so your stomach isn't processing all of the food that you're eating, and so you have to take vitamins. You have to make sure your electrolytes are up. You have to make sure your protein intake is proper, right? So that first year was a lot of exploration, a lot of relearning habits and setting up a new lifestyle structure for myself. I was going to the gym every day. I was being disciplined. I learned to gain my discipline and to push my discipline to another limit. It was honestly a life-changing surgery that made me push myself to an extreme of will, of discipline, of self-love. of self-care. It pushed me, right? It pushed me. It made me become that Anna that I had always fathomed in my head, the skinny looking Anna who has all the fashionable clothes, has the boyfriends, has anything and everything, right? And the Anna that no longer has self-esteem issues, the Anna that no longer looks in the mirror and isn't completely happy with herself. So I get to like 2 years after surgery. I'm about to graduate from college too, everything. And even though I looked the way I wanted to look for such a long time, and I had no idea that I had created this whole ego behind that person, right? And in that ego of myself, I started being mean. I started being ungrateful. I started being, I'm not gonna say, it's not exactly petty, but it's kind of like, where you're like, oh, this is too low quality for me or something like that. So my ego got so high because I'm getting all the compliments, I'm getting all the attention, I'm feeling good to a certain point about it, a certain level. But then after a few things happen, right, after certain people got in my life and I accepted them into my life, then I started noticing that, hey, these people don't have the best interest in me, right? These people don't look at me the way that I look at them, with like, because I'm looking at them as friends, as people who I can trust, as people who I want to be close to and get to know. But I started noticing that very weird negative events kept happening and happening and happening in my life, and I'm like, what's going on? Right? And at the end of the day, remember, whatever is going on within your life is because of how you are thinking, what you are saying, and how you are acting. So this event in my life just completely gave me a reflection of how I was being and of how I was feeling, right? So some things in one side were positive, were nice, were beautiful, and the other things were negative, were bad, were like this whole weird vibe. And then when I noticed that at my job I wasn't being treated the nicest. My friends weren't being the kindest. And I had to, it kind of woke me up, let's say. That experience after my surgery, after getting to the level of Anna that I wanted to be around, I'm now a size 8. I'm feeling beautiful, I'm looking beautiful. But when you don't know how to interact with that new type of energy or attention that you're getting, and you let it get to your head, you let it get to an ego place, at a certain point it's all gonna come tumbling down. At a certain point it's all gonna go poof, right? I feel like it was a build up. Something was building up that it eventually just exploded. And when it exploded, I lost some friends. I lost people who I used to call friends. Yeah, after that kapoo, that explosion, I lost the friends. By that time I was living downtown, in an apartment, and I moved out. I moved back in with my parents. I quit my job and I decided to just take a breather. Just kind of like when you take a sabbatical year. I took that and I stopped for a second and thought about my life and thought about what I wanted to be and thought about how I was acting, how I was being, and what was surrounding me in my life at that point, right? So I'm home and I'm wondering and I'm thinking, I'm contemplating, I'm meditating, I'm doing all the things that I need to do internally to move my life forward, right? To move my life from this point to the next. And all of that just made me kind of come back to myself, right? Who come back to the Anna that always wanted to look like this, come back to the Anna, the humble Anna that said, yeah, let's get the surgery because it's going to be better for my health, not let's get the surgery because I want to look better and be more fashionable. No, I came back to my soul. I'm going to say to my soul. And I asked myself, what do I want? Who am I? How do I want to act, right? What is going to make me happy in this life? And all of those things, I had to kind of like push the reset button in myself and go back all the way back to my initial settings. Let's say it like that. In my initial settings, always demonstrated to me that I'm a kind person, I'm a kind-hearted person, that I like to laugh, I like to make jokes, that I like to make people smile. And I wasn't doing that when I was getting all that other attention, right? I was being the opposite of myself practically, just simply because my ego was very up in the clouds. So the last 10 years with this surgery have definitely made me reflect, have made me build a will that is so strong. Not like I'm gonna impose my will in my life, no, not that way, because God's will in my life is all I want. I'm saying in a will of what I am capable of doing for myself, you know. The will of discipline, the will of consistency, the will of self-love, of self-care, of taking charge of my life. You know, I'm talking about that will. And to build from there, you know. I know that at the end of the day, I'm not a weak person or anything like that. And if anything, the surgery made me more strong-minded, have a stronger will to do the things that I want to do in my life, and to stop wasting time at the end of the day, stop wasting time with myself, and do what's going to make me happy at the end of the day. And even though sometimes I get wrapped up and I'm like, you know, I'm so kind, I'm so nice, why are people still mean to me? That's why I sometimes say. But I think maybe sometimes those ugly people that come into our life need to come into our life to teach us a lesson, to show us another perspective, and then once they've taught us what they needed to teach us, we got to send them on their way. So I think at the end of the day, the surgery pushed me to become a better me through self-knowledge, through self-care, through self-motivation, self-discipline, and, you know, seeing what I was capable of doing and being for myself. It motivated me to become a life coach, to become a life and leadership coach and self-love coach, because it is not an easy task to decide to go for surgery like this, especially when you have sometimes so many ideas construed about what this can do for your life, you know, or like me, when you have an unregulated ego persona because you've always wanted to look like this, and then when you finally look like this, you know, you find it special, and you find it like it's like it's a whole different life. But and now you can lose sight of yourself, you can lose sight of yourself. And when you're losing sight of yourself is when those ugly people come into your life, to kind of push you to go back, push you to your limit, to see if you're gonna keep losing sight of yourself, or if you're gonna keep or if you're gonna push that reset button and rethink your life, and really process what you're deciding, how you're acting, what you're thinking, and what you're saying, how you're feeling. So it's very important for us to remember to have healthy outlets where we know when to express ourselves. Healthy outlets of expression are very, very important. Just to speak, paint, write, do things that will let you express your heavy emotions, and your heavy thoughts too. You remember it all synchronizes. And when you're out of sync, everything's all over the place in your life. But when you're in sync, then you start really comprehending, observing, internalizing, and pushing yourself to good limits, to healthy limits, to doing good things for your life. So I think my conclusion with the surgery is that it helped me become more in sync with who I am, with who I want to become, and with who I was. At the end of the day, I'm not here to deny that I used to weigh 600 pounds. No, I'm here to show you, encourage you that if you are in that 600-pound life, that it's not that hard to kind of rethink, reprocess. Yes, it does take a while, because after your brain is thinking in such low vibrations and feeling such low things, like I don't love myself, like I don't know how to take care of myself, I don't know why people say these things to me, or stuff like that. It can be hard to get out of that mental process and that emotional process, because it's what your body, your mind, and your heart are used to. But the minute that you decide for yourself that you now want to think, feel, act, talk, decide better for yourself, boom, your body, your mind, your heart will start changing. I'm not joking. They will. Even like all it takes is for you to start one day. And that one day turns into 2, then to 3, then to 4, then to 5, and eventually 10 years go by. So remember, it's the hardest part is just switching your mental and emotional processes. And once you do that, it becomes easy as pie, as the old saying goes. So I'm very proud of who I am today. I'm very proud of seeing myself as I am in the mirror. And yes, I'm still working on my body and my health today. And yes, I have different goals now for how I want to look and how I do my exercise. But now I have that liberty to choose, what I mean? To choose if one day I want to go to the gym. To choose if I want to eat a hamburger versus a salad. And I'm very happy about that, It took me a while to get here, but I'm here now. And I'm very happy about it. And I'm very proud of myself for it. And again, if somebody asks me today if I will go for the surgery again, I would say yes. But at the end of the day, if somebody says no, that's their decision. I just hope that everybody is happy with the life choices that they've made for themselves. And I hope everyone is trying to be in sync with their thoughts and their emotions, so that their actions, their decisions, their words come out beautiful, and every day that they have a beautiful life, just like me, right? We want beautiful lives at the end of the day. We don't want boring. We don't want sad. We don't want to be in places where we don't feel good, right? So yeah, guys, that is my bypass gastric story. Gastric bypass. Sorry. And I hope you like it. I hope you connected with me at some point. I ain't cry because I'm a sensitive woman, but I like crying and it helps me vent and it helps me release probably blocked emotions that I have from way back when. But yeah, guys, remember to subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for Tuesdays, every Tuesday, until I tell you that it's no longer running, okay? Every Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. on the LV with Val Radio, or get into my YouTube. I'm gonna do it live from my YouTube as well. Maybe from my Instagram. I'll think about that. But yeah, guys, I'll see you on